Good evening. I'm Jim O'Neill, your host for this evening of the Russ Meek Speaks. And our guest this evening is Mr. Charles Brummell, who is the president and CEO of the Lupus Foundation of America, Illinois chapter. Welcome,
Thank you,
Mr.
Jim.
Brummell.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
It's good having you here. This appears to be a very interesting and a very unknown problem, if I may call it that, in the community, human community, not just the minority community. What is lupus?
You're right, Jim. Lupus is not very well known. And it's a shame because lupus impacts a large number of people. People that we know, and there's actually people who have lupus that don't even know that they have lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. It impacts the immune system in a variety of ways. The most prominent way is it impacts the vital organs, and it can go anywhere within the body, attacking all of the vital organs, the kidney, the liver, the heart, the brain. On occasion, you will see lupus appear in what we would call a discoid manner, where it only manifests itself on the skin. That's a milder case, although still a very serious case of lupus. And then on occasion, you'll see it manifested as a result of some of medication that may have been taken. But when lupus comes about in that form, it disappears once the medication has been removed.
Can you have a discoid and not have a severe case of lupus?
Yes, you can. But frequently, if you have someone who has discoid lupus, they may then show evidence of what we call SLE, or the lupus that impacts the vital organs at some point in the future. It may happen, it may not happen. It's a very unpredictable disease.
So when you speak about lupus attacking the vital organs, does it manifest itself with serious effects that may stop, like a lung function or kidney function, or what happens when it attacks this organ?
I talk to people with lupus all the time, and the stories are quite scary, and it varies from individual to individual. We never can predict how lupus is going to attack someone, but when it does impact the organs, it can impact it from a very mild point of view to a very severe point of view. As an example, I know of individuals who have had their kidneys fail completely, where they've then had to go forward and be on dialysis in support of their kidney functions. I know of individuals who've had their liver fail. I know of individuals who have had heart attacks. So it can impact any of those vital organs. And when it does, in a sense, you become then a heart patient who has lupus, or a kidney patient who has lupus, because medical society is going to be paying attention to helping you with that particular issue that you're dealing with. Rather than
the lupus?
Rather than the lupus becomes, to some extent, secondary. It may have been the cause of the attack on your vital organ, but once it does occur, they deal with the vital organ that's been impacted.
Can people die from lupus?
People certainly can die from lupus, and well, let me rephrase that. People die from the effects of lupus, more so than from the disease itself. When lupus is dormant, people live a normal life. They may be on medication. They may have to watch their diet and exercise and do all the things that we all say we're supposed to do to live a healthy, normal life. That's when lupus is dormant. When lupus is active and it's impacting the vital organs, well, if it impacts your heart, how long do you live? I mean, it can hit you in such a way that it could be fatal.
So in other words, you're saying that it's possible for or is it possible for a diagnosis of a heart condition and it not be identified as a cause by lupus?
Yes, that is possible. Medical society is still coming to grips with lupus, even though lupus has been around for a long time. So when a person goes to a physician and manifests certain symptoms, the physician begins to go down the path to treat the symptoms and to treat the ailment that those symptoms represent. So if a person is demonstrating problems with their heart, the cardiologist is going to deal with it from that point of view, not necessarily connecting it to the fact that that heart problem originated because of a lupus activity.
Well, how was it discovered how was lupus discovered, if I may put it that way? Because if you had a heart problem and it was caused by lupus, then I would presume that lupus was known about, and yet it wasn't diagnosed sufficiently prior to a heart problem?
Lupus is very, very difficult to diagnose and very difficult to detect. There isn't a specific test that you can have that says you have lupus, but there are a number of tests and a number of symptoms that allows a physician, if the physician is paying attention, is astute, and is looking for it, to begin to say, I think this individual has lupus. So frequently, it is misdiagnosed and misdiagnosed for a period of years. I'll give you an example. My wife has lupus. And when she became ill, it impacted her kidney, her blood pressure went up, and it impacted her heart. Now, as the physicians were looking at her, each of them began to come up with their diagnosis. Oh, you're having heart problems because you have high blood pressure. And I would say to them, no, she never had high blood pressure. Well, she has high blood pressure. Yes, she has high blood pressure because her heart's being impacted. So if you go down the wrong path, you can come up with conclusions that could lead you in a direction that might allow you to treat the situation that's occurring at that time, but it doesn't necessarily allow you to trace it back to the original cause, which is lupus.
So some of the medications that are being given could impact a lupus patient negatively.
Yes. Yes.
And cause even a further deterioration of a problem.
That's right. Medications have side effects. And if you look at any medication that's received, we will always have some warning associated with it that says it could cause this, it could cause that.
Yes.
Normally, the physician is not going to provide that medication if they think you're going to receive that side effect. But the reason that warning is on the label is because some people do get that side effect. It could cause any number of different ailments outside of lupus and outside of the original diagnosis that you're being treated for.
You said a number of people have lupus and might not be aware of it.
That's right.
Did you imply that?
That's right.
Well, approximately how many people, is there a study that indicates approximately how many people might have lupus or has lupus? We
do have a study. It needs to be updated. But the most recent study we have indicated that about 1.5 million people have lupus. About 65,000 or so have lupus right here in Illinois. But once you start talking about lupus, look to the left and look to the right, everybody knows someone who has lupus. People will say, oh, I know somebody who has lupus. My sister has lupus. And they'll begin to tell you stories.